Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Storytime Society. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so happy you're here. I'm so glad you're alive. I'm your host Jamie, and this is another episode of the Storytime Society, which comes out, full episodes come out Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 a.m. and mini episodes are out Mondays and Thursdays at 8 a.m. I always forget those times. But anyways, get your drink out. What are you drinking? Let me know. I'm not drinking anything. I should be drinking water. I'm not. And I also don't really feel that well today, so I should be drinking even more water, but I'm not. I don't know what happened. I just don't feel well at all. And yeah, so I hope that I'm like in an okay state to be recording right now and I'm not going to be like the most boring bitch alive. But anyways, we are going to get straight into the story time today, as always. And always feel free to give me a comment. I always want to know what you guys are up to while you guys are listening, or what you're drinking, or like I don't even know, anything. I just love to chat with you guys in the comments. So, the first story is titled, Am I the Asshole for Telling My Husband's Affair Baby's Family to Either Come Get the Kid or I'm Calling CPS? My female 53, soon to be ex-husband, Roger, 47, whom I forgave for his affair, came home with a baby 4 months ago. His girlfriend, 22, could not handle it anymore and brought the baby to him at work and left. To the best of his knowledge, she's in Spain. I allowed him to stay as long as I didn't have to do anything. Anything. Well, about a month ago, Roger had a heart attack. It didn't kill him, more's the pity, but he is very weak and incapable of doing anything for himself. Since he isn't up and about, he cannot care for his child. He also cannot drop off and pick up his son at daycare. I have been helping, but I'm done. My kids are full grown. I shouldn't be having grandkids anytime soon. I do not have any desire to care for a baby. I told Roger that I want a divorce, and I contacted the mother's parents. I know the father through friends. I said they had until Friday to come get their grandchild, or I was calling Child Protective Services. They just left the baby. They just left with the baby, but they scolded me for being so cold towards a baby that had done me no harm. I view that child differently. Roger is recovering, and I will be moving out. The house is in his name, but I have never contributed to it. I have the equivalent of 22 years of rent and interest put away, and as per our prenup, my savings are my own. I work and I don't need anything out of this marriage except myself. My kids tried telling me to stay and help their father. I said that they were welcome to come over and help him with cleaning himself and the baby. Both declined what I felt was a fair offer. I do not feel that I'm acting badly, however. Roger, our children, his child's family, and a few mutual friends think I am. Perhaps writing this out and seeing their responses will give me clarity. Okay, for this is like always the same situation. I feel like the the person who is like the victim of the affair, their partner has an affair with someone and then they end up having a baby. They always put that on the child. And for me, it's like a two-way, there's two, life isn't black and white, as I usually say. So I don't think that it's like so easy to just say, yeah, that child's not yours. You don't have to care for it. Which I don't believe that you're responsible for it. And I understand where you're coming from. But at the same time, like, I don't think that you should be, I wouldn't want to take care of a baby that's not mine either. And it's from like an affair partner. But I mean, I don't know. It's hard to me. It's hard for me when they are just like so heartless towards the child. To say that you're going to call CPS, I mean, I understand threatening that, but it seemed like you were actually going to do that. But like, to call CPS and put another child in the system, for me, that's just like there's no going back from that, and that can be such a hard thing for a child to go through. Like, obviously, we all know the system is not the greatest thing in the world, and once you're in it, a lot of things can happen, and a lot of that being bad things, and it's really sad. So I just feel like that part of it is just a little bit messed up. I totally understand the wanting someone to come care for the baby because you don't want to do that. I 100% agree. I don't think that you should have to do that. But if you actually were to call CPS, I would have thought that was the wrong thing to do. Just like I don't know, I just have a little bit of compassion for human beings, especially babies, poor innocent babies that literally did nothing. They are just a baby and they were brought into this world in no, like, by no fault of their own. Like, they weren't the ones that chose to be brought into this world. Their parents made a bad decision by having an affair, and now the result is that you look at this baby as like, I feel like they always look at the baby as like a demon. They're like, ew, I hate that baby. That's the affair baby. But it's also a baby, you know? It's also a baby, a human life, a human being. And yeah. So I would say you're the asshole if you would have called CPS. I think that, I mean, obviously, if you really want to motivate someone to come get their kid, that's a good way to do it. I don't know. It seems like you were actually probably planning to do that. And that is what's wrong to me. Maybe people are going to disagree, but that's okay because that's fully what I believe. And usually when I like give my opinion about these stories, I do it from a personal stance, what I would do in that situation. And obviously everyone's going to deal with the situation differently, but also at the same time, if my husband had an affair and had a baby, I would have left him, so I wouldn't have been in this situation to begin with. Not putting the blame on her at all. It's obviously not her fault. She forgave him, and that's okay. That's your decision. But for me, I just wouldn't have been in this situation at all because I would have not forgiven him, and then none of this would have happened. But if I did forgive my spouse, then this all happened. I would likely just care for the child until someone came to pick it up. And if that really, really came to it where it's like the time has been, you know, they've been saying they're going to come pick the child up and they won't, or it's just been so long and no one's claiming the child, then maybe that's when you take different steps. But I don't know. It's just sad because it's just heartless, but at the same time, I see where you're coming from in not wanting to take care of the child. I always feel like that's usually how I'm feeling about these types of situations. Anyways, let's read some comments. The top comment says, not the asshole. Let me get this straight though. No one is upset at the real mom who took off for Spain leaving her kid. It seems like all the hostility is being misdirected towards you who got dumped on more than once. You are doing the right thing. At some point, mom is more than likely to show back up. Want the kid and money to support it. Get away from that man as fast as you can, as far as your kids can go. It sounds like they think you have some responsibility to support the guy who cheated on you for life so they can enjoy theirs without that added burden. Hopefully, they will wake up and realize that is placing you in an abusive situation. Wait until Roger passes and they all want a part of the house, and little Miss Guess Who, if she finds out, wants a piece for her kid too. I bet their opinions change really fast. Okay, but this comment is making it seem like the kids are forcing the mom to stay when she already had forgiven him for the affair. And I just feel like, yeah, as much as it sucks that you were cheated on, when you decide to forgive someone for cheating on you, or you decide to work through someone having an affair, I don't feel like you can any longer use that as an excuse. That's my opinion, because I believe that if you're going to forgive someone, that's a huge, 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 huge decision to make. And when you do make that decision, you need to be fully ready to move forward and put that in the past, and you can no longer blame anything on that. Hi, sorry to interrupt, but if you would like to listen on Spotify, we have a link in the description below, and if you're there, give us a follow and rate us 5 stars. Love you. In my opinion, if you're going to truly try to make a relationship work after that situation, like, otherwise you're just going to build resentment and it's going to be a terrible toxic relationship if you're planning on, you know, using that or holding that over their head, because this is your decision to make. You don't have to stay with this man after he cheated on you, but you decided to. So it's like, I don't know, you take the responsibilities that come with that. That's a completely different situation though. That's like, I'm saying that removed from the situation with the baby, because I still am going to repeat myself. I don't think that she should have to take care of the baby or be a mother to the baby or anything And she obviously can change her mind if she wants to leave, obviously. Yes, I'm not saying that, like, just because she made the decision to forgive him, now she's stuck with him forever. But she can change her mind and she can leave at any point, of course, if she decides that, she actually can't work through this. But I'm just saying, in the aspect of trying to work through a relationship after that happens, you kind of have to just, like, leave it in the past. Okay, someone said, not the asshole. That child was not your responsibility. Yes, it was innocent, but you're literally not responsible for raising it. You should have divorced Roger long ago. I agree with that. Should have divorced him a long time ago. Like, when he cheated on you and had a baby with a literal 22-year-old, and he's, 47? That's kind of insane. Not the asshole. Basically, everybody is trying to dump their responsibilities on you. The baby should be with the family. You're not cold to not want to care. It's weird they wouldn't want to take the kid in any way. Poor child. Your grown kids can take care of their dad. When he cheated, your relationship ended and he's not your problem anymore. But this is the thing, is what I'm confused about is why people are saying your relationship ended when he cheated, because that's not the case, because she forgave him. She forgave him. So it did not end. They were trying to work through it. People are not remembering that. But there's 2 updates, so I'm going to read the first update. Am I the asshole for telling my husband's affair baby's family to either come get the kid or I'm calling CPS? Update. I'm no longer divorcing Roger. There were complications from his heart attack and he has passed away. I'm conflicted. He was the love of my life, but also a cheating piece of trash. To the best of my knowledge, the mother will not return from Europe. The child is currently with her parents. They asked me what I wanted to do. I recommended adoption. Not that I adopt the child, but that they put the child up for adoption. They didn't take that suggestion. Neither did my children. They said I'm being cold and cruel. I suggested that since the child was related to them and not me, that they step up. Neither has accepted that suggestion either. I was the sole beneficiary of Roger's estate, so I imagine lawyers will be involved in getting the child some sort of support. I will pay whatever is ordered by the court out of the estate. I will not pay 1 cent out of my own money. That's all I have to say on this matter. Okay, I mean, I agree. I don't think it's really crazy that people are kind of like insinuating that you're responsible for this child now. I think that is like, that's obviously goes without being said that that's not your responsibility whatsoever. That's 100% on the mom's or even Roger's side of the family. Like, someone that's related to the baby needs to step up and take care of the baby. So, it's a little weird that I know they're not like actually straight up saying that, but it's kind of like they're insinuating that. And that's crazy. That's crazy. Okay. We're going to read the final update, which I can't even imagine what else would happen in this situation after he dies, but we're about to find out, kids. Am I the asshole about telling my husband's affair baby's family to either come get the kid or I'm calling CPS? Final update. The girl's parents finally did the right thing and cut her off. I had passed along their information to several dozen Redditors who seem eager to help. Just an email. I did not reveal their identities or even their names. I believe this pressure convinced them to act. They finally got the clue that I would in no way take responsibility for the child. Between her parents no longer funding her and the current climate in Spain against visitors, the child's mother has returned. I have washed my hands of this entire situation, except for one thing. I have spoken with the lawyers, and I will be splitting some of Roger's estate into 3 parts for the children. My children will get theirs immediately as they are adults. The child's money will be going into a trust with his brother and sister as the trustees. This will take some doing, as such will be me. This will take some doing, and such as will mean more money goes to the lawyers. Perhaps Shakespeare was correct with regards to that profession. My children are now less enthusiastic about their young sibling, but that is neither here nor there. They were the ones who insisted I involve myself. If there is anything left when I pass, they can split that between themselves, as I will not be leaving anything to that child. Thank you for all of your help in my reaching clarity. I was letting my anger cloud my judgment and sense of fairness. Oh my god. I mean, slay for you, queen, but please, can the women stop putting the blame on the baby? They're always like that child, or like acting like a disgusting human being made out of fucking Play-Doh or something. It's like, okay, this person's a human that did not ask to be born from an affair. What? is the problem here? I don't understand. Frankie, I don't know what you want from me. You're being so silly. Hey, no biting. He's trying to bite the fucking computer. Stop. See, that's why I don't let you be by the computer, because then you get crazy. Okay. I guess I chose a couple posts that were mostly about affairs. I think I meant to do that, but I did this a couple days ago when I was planning for this episode, and I kind of forgot that I did that. So, yeah, the theme of this episode is affairs, I guess. The next one is the title is My brother has had an affair with our stepmother for years, and I'm the only one who knows. When me, 27 male, and my brother, 25 male, were very young, our mom abandoned us and our dad. He remarried when we were 14 and 12. At the time, our new stepmother was 26 and our dad was 42. She wasn't much of a motherly figure, but she was nice to us and paid more attention to us than our dad did, driving us to school, hanging out with us, and stuff like that. 2 years into their marriage, she gave birth to our sister. From the outside, we looked like a happy family, even with their age gap. The reality was far more toxic. Our dad has had a habit of drinking for as long as I can remember, and it worsened over time, along with his temper. That resulted in countless beatings for me and my brother, which, being older, I did my best to take most of. My brother was already suffering from our mom's abandonment, and the way our dad treated us made it much worse. He was a scared kid who never wanted to leave my side. There was a time when things got better. Our dad actually quit drinking and did his best to reconcile with us. I tried to forgive and maintain a healthy relationship, but my brother never accepted the apologies and promises. During this time, our dad met our stepmom. I think their honeymoon phase lasted long enough for her to marry him and get pregnant before she realized she made a mistake. Around the time my sister was born, everything started to fall apart again. They began arguing. He started drinking again. He started attacking us again, which she tried her best to stop him from doing. My brother started acting out more and more. Him and my stepmom started to have some sort of alliance against my dad in every argument that happened. I was in the midst of it all, stuck taking care of my baby sister and trying to keep her as far away from the chaos as possible. My dad spent more and more time on business trips and at our lake house, aka having affairs. Meanwhile, my brother started acting out of control. Getting into trouble at school, he started running away from home, even got arrested twice. Then he came out as bisexual, which was the last straw for our dad. They had the biggest argument so far, which turned into a physical altercation that I had to break up. After that, our dad basically moved to our family lake house and started spending most of his time over there. Our stepmom stayed home, being a housewife, and hired a 24/7 nanny for our sister. I moved for college at 18, and that's when my brother was left living alone with our stepmom. I don't know why me and him grew up into such different people. I always did everything in my power to rise above the abandonment and the abuse. My only goal in life was to not end up anything like my parents, and I never blamed myself for what I had to endure as a child. But my brother couldn't escape the suffering and the self blame. He sank further down with every passing day and wanted everyone and everything to sink with him. I tried so many times to help him, and I often felt like my words were getting to him, but it was never enough. Whenever he improved, he always went back to his old ways. When he was 17, I walked in on him and our stepmom sleeping together in his bedroom. That was the worst day of my life. Obviously, he begged me not to tell our dad, saying he would get killed, and I couldn't exactly disagree. This went on for years, and it turned into some sort of sick living situation. He didn't move out for college when they were alone, which was often. They were living like a couple. He talked to me a lot about how they were in love and she's going to divorce our dad, how they're going to run away together, and so on. I could never condone this relationship. I tried to get him to think about what he was doing, but in his mind, there was nothing wrong with it. 3 years ago, I got my hopes up more than ever. They had an argument and he ended things. He moved in with me and my long term girlfriend, and he lived with us for about 8 months. He even found a boyfriend who was a really nice, normal guy. My girlfriend, who got me to start therapy way back in my second year of college, started gently encouraging him as well. Just when we felt we were making progress with him, he quite literally disappeared from our lives. He was gone from our apartment one morning along with his things. He blocked our number and broke up with the guy that he was seeing. When I had time, I went home, and he was there, with our stepmom again, acting like nothing happened. He didn't want to talk to me at all. I had to refocus on my life and maintain my relationship, job, and social life. Then 2 years ago, my dad called to tell me that my stepmom was pregnant. Apparently, she needed more fulfillment in her life and decided to give her a baby. And he decided to give her a baby, even though he still hadn't gone back to fully living with her. I immediately knew what happened. It didn't take long for my brother to admit that he got her pregnant. She found out quickly and went to our dad and told him she wanted a baby. They slept together for a few days. She went home, and sometime later, she informed him that she was pregnant. My dad didn't want much to do with the baby, just like my sister, who is now 10 and basically lives with her mom's parents most of the time, or stays with me and my girlfriend, who thankfully loves her and loves spending time with her. Our stepmom gave birth to another girl, and since then, they've been busy with the baby. Our dad has continued being absent and clearly blind, and I try to have the best possible relationship with my brother. I gave up trying to help him. I developed sleeping problems and anxiety from knowing everything that I know, but I stayed focused on my own mental health since the end of the day, you can't fix other people's issues for them. You can only love them and give them advice. They chose their next move. They choose their next move. I had a conversation with him recently. He told me that he finally reached the conclusion that he hasn't been happy since the day our mother left, and that nothing he ever did brought him closer to happiness until his daughter was born. I think about how tragic it is that our dad's name is written on her birth certificate, and I still don't understand how or why life can be as effed up as it's been for my brother. Wow. See, I forgot that I put this story in there. And when I read that title, I was like, no. I can't even believe how many stories I feel like I've read that are about stepmoms and stepdads being with their stepchildren. It's actually insane to me and disgusting as well. So I'm trying to realize when they got, at the time our new stepmother was 26. So the little brother was 12. Excuse me, what? That is literally insane and disgusting. I mean, I say the same thing every time. It's like, it's crazy that you meet someone at 12. That's literally how you picture them forever. And then you end up being a literal pedo. Hi, sorry to interrupt, but if you could just press the subscribe button, the like button, and leave us a comment, it would really help with the algorithm and pushing out my videos to other people like you who like this type of content. Love you. Kind of want to shorten it and not fully say the word because I don't know if I'll get in trouble, but she's literally a pedo, and that's really scary, obviously. But yuck, I'm scared. And also, that's so sad, but honestly so relatable. All siblings end up so different, and I feel like mostly it's because the stage of life. Can you stop biting me? I feel like mostly it's because the stage of life that the parents are at when they have the kids and then when they're growing up, you know? Like, I'm 12 years younger than my sister. So clearly, she had a way different experience than me growing up because she was experiencing my parents being married, which I don't remember anything of because I was literally 4 years old, so I don't remember anything. And they were really young when they got pregnant with her, so they were in their literal early 20s when she was a baby. I think my mom got pregnant at 19 years old, and she probably had the baby at 20. Yeah. So, yeah, they were both in their early 20s raising my sister. And I'm pretty sure at some point they lived in a trailer park, and it was not a good neighborhood at all. And yeah, they didn't really get their shit together for a while, and then finally they got a house and stuff, but I didn't really get to experience any of that. I literally don't remember my parents being married other than a couple really bad memories that I'm not going to speak of, but I don't remember them being together because I think by the time I was born, they were kind of dwindling down in their relationship, and it was just not good as far as infidelity. So, yeah. I mean, whatever. I don't really I feel like that stuff doesn't really affect me. I was so young, I don't even remember what happened, but I'm sure it affects my sister, and my brother is also 8, 7, 5, 5 or 6 years older than me, guys. I don't fucking know. And so, yeah, he had a different experience as well. Like, my sister has a lot of different, she definitely is a lot better now, but growing up, it was really hard for her to deal with life. She had a lot of things going on in her brain, and she went through a lot of stuff, and she was more of a, wild child. And then my brother as well. I've told you the story of him going to jail and rehab and all that. So, yeah, they had a different upbringing than me. I grew up and my parents were divorced, and I mostly was with my mom, and I was with my dad when he was married to my stepmom, and they had like a normal life together with my stepsisters and stuff. So I just feel like it just depends on what stage of life your parents are in. But at the same time, it's like these kids were only 2 years apart. So it's hard to say with that. I don't know. They also probably experience different things. That's obviously a big contender, and influence in how you grow up is different things that you experience or different things that you learn. And then maybe sometimes you just are predisposed to certain things, which I'm pretty sure that's a thing, because I know that, like, for me, my depression and anxiety are hereditary. I think, is that what the word is? Hereditary? I don't know. But it's like passed down, because my dad's literally on the same anxiety medicine as I am, which I think bupropion is what it's called. I don't know. I'm on two that sounds similar, so I can never remember which is which. But yeah, he's on the same medicine as I am. And I'm pretty sure my mom was also on a similar medication a while ago, but she doesn't take medicine anymore because she just like doesn't believe in it, which I think is silly because I believe in it 100%, especially. And I think that's why I held off and was so reserved for a while on like going on medicine, because I was I grew up just like taking natural supplements to heal things, and that's per my mother being very like holistic. And in some ways it's a good thing, but then like when you're depressed and you want to actually like yourself, you can't really just take an ashwagandha and be like, okay, I'm good now, love my life. Like at a certain point, it's too, it's too serious, and it's like, okay, none of the natural stuff is going to help me not want to end my life, so let me go get the real stuff. Thank you very much. And let's read some of these comments. Okay. The first comment says, "This is 17 Shades of Messy." And then the second comment says, "I'm so sorry that your parents failed you and your brother, and that your stepmother groomed your brother. That's what happened. A fully grown adult groomed him. None of this is his or your fault. That being said, there is very little you can do to help him if he doesn't want to be helped. You've offered counseling, you've offered him somewhere safe to live, and he doesn't want that. As long as he knows that's still on the table, you have to let him live his own life and make his own mistakes. I'm so sorry for him and for his innocent child and your half sister. To be honest, what a mess. But, and this is important, you cannot set yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. By that, I mean you need to protect yourself and nurture your own well being. You need to take a step back. Let you, brother? No? What? I don't know. Let your brother know that you are there if he needs you, but he needs to reach out. And then get on with your life." Wait, the half sister? That would not be his half sister. That would be his niece, ma'am, because it was not the dad that got him pregnant. I'm pretty sure you know that too. So I don't blame him for anything, and I will always be there for him, but I agree that I need to look out for myself first. I have a life. I have to be present for myself, my girlfriend, my friends, and my sister, who has me and her grandparents as the only stable adults in her life. I don't plan on letting all of those people down. It is not your sister, right? Like, sorry, am I wrong here? I'm right, I think. It's not your sister. That is your niece. Your brother had the child, so that's your niece. Hello? Yikes, your stepmother groomed your brother. She's a predator. I'd take a huge step back from all of them. No more visiting, go super low contact, like send a Merry Christmas text, and that's it. Your dad will eventually find out. Your sister is getting older and will eventually walk in on them or figure it out. This will get bad, and your father will lash out at you when he finds out you knew. Just get away from these people. Focus on your relationship and your job. Your stepmother is a pedo and a weirdo. She was 26 when she knew him at 12. She's an adult who knew him as a child. She definitely manipulated your brother to go back to her. She was nice and giving attention because she was preying on your brother." So the brother is 25 now. That's the sad thing, is that this changes the course of your life so much, and it makes you believe that this is normal when it's clearly not. And then it's like you have to unlearn those things, but you can really only unlearn those things when you make the choice to get better and to like come to a realization that this actually was not normal or okay at all. And for some people that doesn't ever happen in their lifetime, and then for some people they realize like, wow, was actually effed up. And then once you go through therapy and stuff and you can finally realize and like sort through all of your trauma, then you can understand what was wrong in this situation. But if he doesn't ever recognize that, then he will just continue to be with this woman unless she ends it with him. But even if that happens and he never recognizes that, he'll continue putting himself in situations like this, and bad situations and bad relationships and toxic relationships, and that's really sad. And I only hope for the best for people that have to go through things like this, because I can't imagine how hard it is, and how hard it is to rewire your brain once you do kind of come to the realization that it's wrong and that you need to work through it to try to understand what's normal and what's not. Because clearly when you're raised like this and you've been groomed, it's so hard to tell what's right and wrong when you grew up thinking this way for so long, and you're even a full grown adult with a mostly developed frontal lobe, and you're still with this woman who groomed you as a child. It's really sad, and I don't wish that on anyone. I mean, that's like so hard, especially because I don't know, it's just such a blurred line when people don't make it seem like it's a crazy thing. But I guess because no one knows about the relationship other than the brother, no one can really say anything. I don't know what the dad would do if he found out. I'm sure it would not be good, and they probably, I don't know, someone would probably end up 6 feet under, because this dad seems like a literal piece of shit and an abuser first and foremost. But I think it's just like that commenter said, something that you kind of have to go through. Like, they have to just go through and make their own mistakes. Once you've offered them the help and the support, and they know that you're there for them if they ever need to fall back on you, that's the most important part. And the rest is up to them. Like, they really have to figure it out for themselves. Sometimes I just ramble and ramble and ramble, and then I'm like, what did I just say? I don't even know. You know? I'm like, was that advice? Was that good? Was that, I don't know. What just happened? All right, but that is the end of the story time. We're going to move on to the advice segment. If you ever want advice from me, who is not a professional, but just someone that wants to help and likes to help, I have a Google form that's in the description below. You can fill out. It's completely anonymous. It doesn't collect any emails, any information about you. So don't worry about that. You can be as juicy as you want. The more context and details, the better, to be honest. Like, I got a comment the other day and they were like, if it's a really long story with a lot of context, is that okay? I'm like, that's more than okay, because it's a lot easier for me to like say my perspective of it when I have more details. Because there's like things that you would think that you wouldn't need to include, but that is helpful, like length of time and like age and all that stuff. But okay, I'm gonna take a big yawn. I'm so sorry if I make you yawn, but I needed to do that before I read this. All right. I, female 23, have been on and off with a guy that treats me like shit. I love him. It kills me. I don't know what it is. We just click like one of those people you felt you knew all your life. For a backstory, I had rough relationships in the past. My first relationship was with a guy that was 21 when I was 16 and pressured me into sex before I was ready. I feel like that's all I have to even say, LMAO. My second relationship was with a guy I worked with after high school, and he turned out he was still dating his high school sweetheart. He ended up marrying her and having 2 kids, which effed me up, because how could you do that to your future wife? He literally asked me when they were engaged, is it bad to get married when you know you'll get a divorce? Like, bro, please stop. Quit your job if it's so hard to work with women, and let me keep working for my uncle in peace. Wait, what? I'm sorry, I have no idea what. Oh, you worked with him. Okay, sorry, I was so confused. Lastly, the one after that had another woman's baby while we were together. Like, that effed me up. He was acting weird, and since he didn't have social media, I found his mom's, and she posted pics of her grandbaby and him and his baby mama. I confronted him saying, "What's it like being a dad?" And he blocked me. A few months later, he created social media accounts and wrote me these long messages on Facebook and Snapchat and Insta, like trying to find a way to get my attention. Since I suck and have no self esteem, I met up with him and we had a good time. At least I thought. We slept, we did the dirty, and he held me all night. After that, he stopped talking to me pretty much, just blowing me off. So I confronted him, and he said he wasn't attracted to me because I gained weight. I gained 20 pounds because I started Lexapro for my depression and anxiety from my childhood with my piece of shit father. That absolutely destroyed me. Anyways, end of the story. Sorry for the tangent, but it felt relevant since the men before show how I allow myself to be treated, and maybe will help you understand what I need to be told. So, anyhow, getting to the point. This current guy has cheated on me and hurt me, but I'm still effed up from my past. I don't know how to put him behind me. No guy has ever tried as hard as he has for me. I met his parents a bunch. I am best friends with his dog, and I helped him when he was low, and he helped me too. However, this last breakup was a few months long, May to November, because he ditched me on my birthday and didn't even give an F, like completely ignored me, and when I finally got a hold of him, he got mad at me for being upset. I literally got with his brother after all that to try and get over him, yet I still want him. Brother is 23 and he is 26. Obviously, I couldn't be with him because he's a piece of shit and I slept with his brother when we were apart, but I can't stop thinking about him. I guess maybe I can't stop thinking about what we could have been. We reconnected in November. I moved about 3 hours away in July, graduated college, got a big girl job out of my small hometown, so I haven't hung out and just texting. So basically, I wanted to ask before I see him again for real. How do I get the confidence to leave him and find a guy that will treat me right? More importantly, what is so wrong with me that I keep finding all these men that won't ever take just me? What's so wrong with me? Is it just my daddy issues holding me back? Who I am as a person? I'm kind to everyone. I'd give anyone who asked the shirt off my back, no questions asked. I have people who love me, but as far as friends go, I don't have many, as I'm a very antisocial person, just in my nature. And I just moved to a new city where I don't know anyone besides my coworkers. So I needed someone else's opinion. I'm sorry for how long and confusing this probably is. I'm not the best at these types of things, but love your videos and feel like I can trust you. If you read this, thank you, for real. Otherwise, I'm glad I had the space to get this off my chest. Okay. I actually had a lot to say while I was reading that, but I don't like to interrupt the reading to tell my opinion, so I'm going to have to really think and go through this because there's a lot to unpack, but it's going to be a lot of my advice isn't going to fix you. It's going to be your responsibility to take this advice and put it into action, if that makes sense. And if you truly want to move on and also not bring along generational trauma and continue generational trauma, this is a pattern that you have to end yourself and choose yourself. So for the first question, you're saying, let me see. How can you get over him and put him behind you? I think that's just a choice that you have to make to work on yourself and focus on yourself and love yourself enough to put him behind you, and also recognize that it's not going to be just this easy thing that you're just going to snap out of it and it's going to be so easy to get over him, because that's not ever going to be the case, and you're going to have to put a lot of work. And from what I can tell, there is a lot of work that you need to do. And if it's possible to get, I don't know if you have a therapist or if you're in therapy, but I highly, highly recommend finding a good therapist, which might take a little bit. You might have to jump around to a couple different therapists, but if that's in your, if you're able to do that, if you have insurance and you're able to afford it, I highly recommend that, because that's going to be the first step in kind of taking accountability for you putting yourself through these types of relationships, because it's a pattern. Obviously, you don't feel secure in yourself. You are which you said yourself, you're very not confident. You don't love yourself enough to do certain things. That tells me that you have a lot to work on in yourself, and that is coming out in your relationships, if that makes sense. Like, you feel that you're not good enough, so you go find other people that think the same, that you're not good enough. And of course those people are going to treat you like shit, and of course you're just going to find that each relationship you're in is going to reflect who you are. It's like a mirror. When you're dating and you're not ready to date and you're truly like don't love yourself enough yet, you're going to be dating like a mirror, like someone that is feeling the exact same way as you are about yourself, and you are like, you hate yourself. Well, so do they, because that's what you're attracting and that's what you're manifesting in your life is. And I'm not blaming this on you at all, but I'm saying that usually that's how it works, is if you don't think you're good enough, they're also not going to think you're good enough. And you're going to find people that subconsciously, because it's a subconscious thing, you're going to find people that you don't think you're good enough, because that's how you view yourself, and they're going to view you the same way. So first and foremost, before even thinking about getting into a relationship, what I highly recommend is really putting yourself first. And this is really hard, especially for a lot of women, because we seem to be very relationship oriented and men focused. Like, we focus and revolve our lives around finding the right partner. But what you really need to find first is the love for yourself and respect for yourself, to not put yourself through these types of relationships. And as easy as that is to say, it's a lot harder to actually do, and it takes a lot of work. And there's really not like, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, but there's never an end game. Like, you're always going to be working on yourself for the rest of your life. But there comes a point where you're comfortable enough in yourself and you realize that you deserve better. That's when your life starts to get better, and that's when you start attracting better things into your life. And there's a lot of things that you can do to work on that. And like I said, therapy is a great one. I think journaling is a great one. I always kind of say the same things, just because this is like really what helped me, is like exercising, journaling, therapy, hanging out with friends. I know you said you're antisocial. Trying to make friends would be a really big thing, because I think everyone, even if you don't have a bunch of friends, which I don't, having a couple good friends is really important. And but I really just think that this is a journey of looking inward and like introspection, and not focusing so much on the outer yet. Like, you will find someone that loves you and that treats you well and that you love back, and you're not just lusting after. Because what I see with these relationships is you're lusting after them, or it's like a limerence thing, or it's like an obsession because they don't want you, and you're just so used to the chaos and the toxic that you kind of crave that, but you don't really realize that, because you're like, I want someone good, but that's just not what you're finding. I don't know if I'm making sense, and I'm really sorry if I'm not. I'm trying my best to like kind of explain what I'm thinking into words, when sometimes it's hard for me to get what I'm like thinking into words, into the right words that make sense. But it's really hard, and it's going to be a big journey to go on with yourself. But truly, I think it's a beautiful journey, and I think that if you can really accept that you can take accountability for not loving yourself and not treating yourself right, then that's like the first step in accepting and starting to work on yourself and starting to love yourself. And then you're going to be so wrapped up in loving yourself, and maybe even working on friendships, and not being so focused on a relationship. Because if I'm being completely honest, it doesn't seem like you are in the right headspace to be in a relationship. I think that there needs to be, like I said, introspection. And I'm saying that with love. I'm not judging you at all, trust. I literally am saying this with the most possible love, and I'm not at all a perfect person, but I do think that I've put a lot of work into myself. And like I said, there was a light at the end of the tunnel, and I feel like I got to the light, but it's still an up and down, like uphill battle. And sometimes you're down, and sometimes you may be feeling like shit about yourself, but there's always the up. And once you truly reach like the light at the end of the tunnel, and that's when you kind of realize who you are, and you're so much more confident in yourself. And then that's when you can kind of put yourself back out there in the dating world and attract better people, is when you view yourself as a better person. You know, you don't, especially because no one wants to be in a relationship with someone that thinks they're not good enough. And I don't want to be, if it were my boyfriend and he just thinks he's not good enough for me, no one wants to be with someone like that. It's really so important to be confident in yourself. And that comes with work. There's no like automatic switch that you can turn on and just automatically be confident in yourself. That's not the case. It's a lot of work that you have to put into yourself, and it's a journey, but it can truly be a beautiful journey. And if you truly put yourself to the test and you really work on it and focus on it for as long as it may take you, because everyone's different, I think that you could have a beautiful life and you could find someone so amazing for you. So I'm going to try to see. I don't think that anything's wrong with you. I think that the only thing that's wrong with you is that you think something's wrong with you. You know what I mean? Like, you are so picky. Not picky. You're so hard on yourself, and you don't see yourself as a beautiful person like you should, and you're not confident in yourself. And I think that's the only thing wrong with you, is that you think there's so many things wrong with you, and you're kind of projecting that on your relationships. Let me see. I'm trying to figure out what other questions you asked. You're saying you can't stop thinking about what could have been. And trust me when I tell you, what could have been is not great, because what you explained that the relationship is, it seems like he treated you like shit and you maybe put your all into him and you didn't get that back from him. So what you were really seeing again is like a mirror. Like, you were putting all this stuff into the relationship, that you were making it seem so amazing because that was all you. That wasn't him. This was you putting all that work into the relationship. And that was your like beautiful touch being put, you know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense. It was all you, like, and you can find that with someone else that will treat you well. But I don't think that you should be questioning what could have been. I think you should be realizing what could have been, which would be a toxic and bad relationship because he didn't treat you well, and you said that yourself. I think that's all I have. That's all the advice that I have for you. Obviously, if you want to keep us updated in your journey and, keep coming with advice, I would love that. I would love nothing more than that. But I hope that I was making sense, and I hope that if you see this, then you truly start to look inside and kind of decide to want better for yourself. And I think wanting better for yourself starts with working on yourself and putting the relationship and the men, putting the relationship focus on the outer skirts, on the back burner for now, and focusing on yourself and maybe more wholesome relationships like friendships, and hopefully making progress towards loving yourself and seeing how beautiful of a person you are. And yeah, but I hope that helped. If it didn't, I'm so sorry, and you can yell at me for it, but I just feel like I can completely understand where you're coming from, because I've had a lot of people in my life that have had the same experiences as you, and I can kind of see, it's easier to see from the outside looking in. Like, for me, it's a lot easier to give you advice and to see what's wrong than the person that's going through it. I think that if you truly look at your situation and you try to put yourself outside of it, and you kind of truly observe what's happening and like think about what's happening and be real with yourself and be honest with yourself, I think that you could come to the same conclusion. But it's a lot harder to do that. It's truly a lot harder, because obviously, sometimes you want what you can't have, and sometimes you become addicted to the chaos and the toxicity, and you kind of have to decide when enough is enough. But anyways, that's all I have for the advice segment. But I hope I wasn't rambling too much, and I hope that that all made sense as much as it possibly could. If you know, you know. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. That's how it really is. And I actually was going to talk about the other day. Well, first of all, yesterday. Yesterday was Christmas. Oh my God. I'm filming this on Thursday, the 26th. So yesterday was Christmas. My boyfriend got me a Kindle. I'm so excited. I've been reading so much since he got it for me. Like, I feel like I'm going to read a lot, because the Kindle is just so easy and convenient that I can just like pick it up and read whatever book I want. It's literally so nice. So I'm reading The Inmate by Frida McFadden. I'm obsessed with Frida McFadden. She's my hyperfixation author right now, so that's what I've been really into. And I kind of just got my boyfriend. We were supposed to not get each other presents. We were supposed to just get each other stocking stuffers. So I told him not to get me anything. I didn't even decide that we were gonna do stocking stuffers until like last week. I was like, we should just do stocking stuffers because I told him a long time ago we're not doing Christmas presents, but instead he still got me a Christmas present. And the story's actually so funny. I saw him at Barnes and Noble the other day, like last week. I saw him at Barnes and Noble, and I was like, this boy does not read. He doesn't pick up a book in his damn life, not even if you paid him. And I was so confused when I saw him at Barnes and Noble, and I just had woken up from a nap, I think. He's like, sometimes he gets home from work late, and sometimes I just like to see if he's on his way home from work or not, or if he's still at work and he's gonna probably be there for a while. So I think it was like 6:30 or 7, and I was like, oh, where is he? Is he coming home or is he still at work? And then I looked, and he's at Barnes and Noble, and I'm like, why are you at Barnes and Noble? You do not read. What are you doing there? And then I texted my friend Sam, and I was like, the one that was on this podcast. She's been my only guest so far, so you know who I'm talking about. And I was like, I screenshotted his location, and I was like, where do you think Jack, what is he doing at Barnes and Noble? Do you think that he's buying me a Kindle? Because I think that'd be the only reason that he'd be there. And I was only thinking that he was going to buy me a Kindle because he had been asking my stepmom about the Kindle that she had. And I was like, I wonder, because I had read like a whole book on the flight, and he was like, wow, I didn't expect you to read all that, but he knows that I like to read. So yeah, Sam was like, she texted me back, she's like, I don't know, honestly. And then she changed the subject really quick, and I was like, okay, that's fishy. What the hell's happening? And then I looked at his location again, and I saw that Sam lives right by Barnes and Noble, so I saw my boyfriend's car getting closer to her apartment building, and then I saw her location, because I have her location too, getting closer to him, and I'm like, is she going to pick out a Kindle or something? Like, is it that big of a deal? But apparently she had one that her boyfriend got her for Christmas just like last week, and she wanted the colored version instead. So when Jack called her and asked her about like which Kindle to get me, she's like, I actually have one that I'm like wanting to return. And so Jack just, he couldn't find the Kindle anywhere, at Best Buy or Barnes and Noble, I guess. So he bought it off of Sam, and that is what I was saying is their exchange, which was so funny. But we just kind of acted like nothing happened. Like when Jack got home, I just acted like nothing happened, like I didn't know. But Sam had already told him that I saw his location at Barnes and Noble. And so yesterday when I opened the present, I was like, that's so funny because I saw you at Barnes and Noble, and then he told me the whole story. But it was really funny. I was so confused. I was like, why is he at Barnes & Noble? He has to be getting me a present, even though we said we weren't doing presents this year. And that is what he was doing. So thank you so much for that. So I just got him a lot of stocking stuffers, and I got him some slippers, but they were kind of small. So I'm going to return them. I don't know if I'm going to get him slippers again or if I'm going to get him like a razor thing. I don't know. Sorry, that's so boring. But I felt bad because I was like, we told each other we weren't going to do Christmas presents this year. And then he got me a Christmas present. I'm like, well, I didn't get you a Christmas present. I only got you stocking stuffers, and now I feel bad. And I was a little anxious about it just because, like, I don't know, I feel bad about that kind of stuff sometimes. But obviously it wasn't my fault that he got me a Christmas present against my wishes. But anyways, I don't really know what else I have to chat about. I don't really have anything else to chat about other than I went to see Mufasa yesterday, and I was crying because it was so cute. I really liked it, and I just get so emotional when it comes to animal movies. It's just like so much more emotional. But it was really cute. And yeah, now I'm gonna rest for the rest of the day, and probably me and my boyfriend are gonna get Euros, and I'm literally just gonna chill because we played pickleball for like 3 hours yesterday, and I feel sick today. I feel like I'm literally getting sick, and I don't feel well at all. And I haven't since this morning when I woke up. I was feeling so groggy this morning and like feeling like I was gonna fall asleep at any second, and I could not wake up. And I still felt like that for like hours after I woke up, and it was terrible. And I have this ultra human ring now that tells me like my sleep score and stuff and how much REM I got and all of that, which is really nice because I'm trying to work on getting my sleep better because it's really bad. And I know it's not good for your health to not have good sleep, especially like your memory and your deep sleep and all of that. But anyways, sorry. That was kind of a boring little chit chat, but I just like to update you guys about random things in my life sometimes, even if it's not juicy stuff. Anyways, I love you, and I hope you guys have the best day ever. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll talk to you guys in the next episode. Bye.